Howdy. Welcome back to another episode of Hey, Have You Seen That Film? Where today we'll be discussing, or it could be discovering for some, another lost film of the 90s, or what I consider to be a lost film of the 90s. Quigley Down Under, starring the legendary Tom Selleck and Alan Rickman. And I can't think of the actress's name all of a sudden. Luckily for me, I got it right here with me. Laura San Giacomo. I might have said that wrong. Laura San Giacomo. Now, Quigley Down Under is one of my all-time favorite movies. It was released in 1990, a couple years after Tom Selleck finished shooting Magnum P.I. in 1988. It was the end of that, and for a couple years, he was doing more films. The unfortunate thing about Tom Selleck is I love him. He's one of my all-time favorite actors. I think he's great, and I love a lot of his films. A lot of his films, though, were not box office success. His biggest hit was Three Men and a Baby. And he's been in other few things here and there that I discussed. The High Road to China on here. That was a success for him. Did it make tons of money? No. And is it kind of forgotten today? Definitely. But a lot of his other movies aren't always talked about, and they didn't make that much at the box office. They kind of just slid underneath. It's Tom Selleck. Everybody knows the name. They know the mustache. And he's still big today. He's doing Blue Bloods, that TV show. But a lot of his films he just wasn't the box office star that I think he deserved to be. Because I love Tom Selleck. Quigley Down Under grossed a little over $21 million on an $18 million budget. So it grossed a little bit more than its budget, but it wasn't a huge hit. And I actually read recently, because it just recently celebrated its 30th anniversary, Tom Selleck says that it was a month after it was released was when Dance of the Wolves came out. And he loves Dance of the Wolves. He said it's a great movie, but he thinks that Quigley Down Under got a little overshadowed by that. So, Quigley Down Under is the story of a man named Matthew Quigley, played by Tom Selleck, who travels from America over to Australia. He sees a help wanted ad in the newspaper. And this is set sometime in the late 1800s, I believe. Mid to late 1800s. A help wanted ad by a rancher in Australia, and he answers the advertisement by shooting it up and then writing that he can shoot from X amount of distance. So the man says, the man played by Alan Rickman says, okay. The ranch head says, yeah, come over, I want to see this. So he has him come over, and when Quigley gets there, he runs into this lady named Crazy Cora, played by Laura. This woman has actually a very sad story that is revealed in the film. But turns out she's going to the same place he is, out to Marston's Ranch. That's Alan Rickman's character's name, Marston. And Tom Selleck gets there, and he shows off his impressive shooting skills with his rifle. That's a special crafted rifle for him. It's 4 inches longer than the actual thing, and he's got his own special caliber of bullet. He impresses everybody there. But while having a special dinner with Marston that none of his other hands have been asked or invited into his house to have a dinner with him, it's revealed to Matthew that he's not actually there to shoot wild dingoes off the ranch or anything, which is what he thought he was going to be doing. He's actually going to be shooting Aborigines. The British government gave permission to anyone living in Australia to go ahead and shoot any Aborigines on sight. Well, Matthew doesn't take too kindly to that, and he actually punches Alan Rickman out of his own house twice. And in the end, he gets captured, he gets beat up, and they throw him out in the middle of the desert. And he works his way back along the way, befriending Aborigines and working his way back to Marston to get his revenge and to put a stop to all this evil. It is a very sweet and compelling story. Out of all the films that I've discussed so far on this channel, this is my favorite. I would say that I'd give it above a 10 out of 10. It is such a beautiful movie. I love Matthew Quigley's character. He just wants to do the best for people. He wants to help those out, those who are seen as less. It's like Crazy Cora, she's gone mad because her husband left her and put her on a boat to Australia and said, "I never want to see you again." I won't give you the reasons why, because that's part of the story. It's a very sad story, as I said, and I don't want to give away too many spoilers here. So he helps her, and as I said, on the way back from working his way back to Marston, he helps several of the Aborigines along the way who helped him. They brought him back essentially to life after he got abandoned in the middle of the Australian desert. This film just has so many moving and powerful moments. I actually showed it to my wife. She had never seen it before when we got married. And there's one scene, it's really sad, where it's a bunch of Marston's men are shoving Aborigines off of the cliff and killing them. And as my wife and I were watching this, I could just hear this. And I looked over, and my wife is just in tears, and I paused the movie and I said, are you okay? Do you want something else? We don't have to finish this. And it was so cute. And her sad, teary voice, she went, "No, I want to see him kill all the bad guys." And we laugh about it now, but it was so cute. And she was so upset and frustrated at what they were doing. And that's how everyone feels watching. Like, one of my cousins, like, "I can't watch that movie because I don't like that. I don't like what they do to the Aborigines." But the cast was well picked, I would say. Alan Rickman, the legendary Alan Rickman, rest in peace. He always plays a perfect villain. He's great at it, and there's a reason. For a time span, that's all he was doing really, was playing villains, because he's just so good at it. And then you have Tom Selleck, who his role was made for him. He's perfect in this part. He is Matthew Quigley. And then Laura, playing this scarred, hurt, crazy woman who just needs somebody to love her. She nails it. The cast is top notch, and you feel like it's superb acting, I would say. It really is great. It's a Western set in Australia, so it's a different kind of setting for a Western, but it fits. It works great. And it's beautiful to see some of the outback of Australia. I love the chemistry between all three of the actors. Laura and Alan Rickman don't really talk. No, they don't talk at all. But Tom Selleck and Alan and Tom and Laura, he's got great chemistry with all of them. You can really sense the hatred that Matthew Quigley has for Marston, but then the hatred that Marston has for Matthew Quigley. And then you can sense the growing relationship between Matthew and Cora along the journey. I'm a huge music person when it comes to films. I think in almost all the videos I've made, I've always mentioned the film soundtrack, the score, and this is one that I listen to it monthly. I love this soundtrack. I don't know, you can feel the emotion in it. The composer is Basil Ponderosa. I'm probably mispronouncing that last name, but the soundtrack is just superb. It works with the movie. It doesn't feel out of place, and it's one, like I said, I was actually listening to it just the other night. I was laying in my bed just listening to it, just laying there relaxing, listening to Quigley Down Under. So if you like westerns, if you like an emotional, gripping story, if you like watching the good guy kill all the bad guys because the bad guys are doing terrible things, you gotta watch Quigley Down Under. It's a shame that it wasn't a hit like it deserved, but it actually has gained a cult following in your sense. There is a Quigley shooting competition because he is a sharpshooter in the film. There's a competition that's held yearly where people compete to try and be like Matthew Quigley. There's a lot of cool scenes in the movie. There's one in particular where with his gun, you can't even see him, he's up in the hills, he shoots 2 of Marston's men with 1 bullet. They're lined up just perfectly, and he shoots, and it goes through one and right to the other. And I actually watched there's an episode of this TV show I used to watch of people. It was a guy who was trying to see if movie weapons and movie situations would actually really work, and he proved that the Quigley Down Under shot is actually possible. You can really shoot 2 people with 1 bullet if they line up just right. So if you're wanting to watch something new and something that will be compelling, watch Quigley Down Under. It is, again, I would give it, it's above a 10 out of 10. It's perfect, and I love this movie. So if you've seen it before, comment down below and let me know your thoughts on it. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out and then let me know what you think. Make sure you subscribe so you can hear more of my reviews, and thank you for watching. Have a great day.